I would say multiple chemical sensitivity is probably the most misunderstood disease or set of symptoms out there ever. Matter of fact, when I was sick, I said I would rather have cancer than have the diagnosis of multiple chemical sensitivity. Really, it could probably be better known as environmental illness, and today it's even known as something called tilt. So really what it means is we have an intolerance to chemicals. And I, of course, started my battle, and most of you at this point probably have read my story, but I had debilitating chronic fatigue, of course, insomnia, anxiety, a whole host of unexplainable illnesses and symptoms, however you want to look at it. However, I think the most maddening part of my whole battle was the multiple chemical sensitivity. And let me be real here. I still have certain sensitivities today. However, the majority of them are gone. There's still certain chemicals, whether it's colognes, fragrances, that will set me off. If I'm behind a truck too long and breathe too much of it, it will absolutely set me off. However, the good news is it will probably only affect me for about a half an hour and it clears out. I remember the days because it used to be literally days after a chemical exposure. And I know some of you even watching this are literally not able to leave your own homes. And it's so sad because I tasted a piece of your world. And I can tell you, the only way I really am able to treat you all and so many of the patients that I do is because I suffered through it myself. And I praise God and thank God that I'm on the other side of it. And you can see that I have developed a puzzle because it really is a puzzle. And we've put some pieces together. I do have a specific diet that I treat MCS with, and not just MCS, but the things that go along with it. Chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and again, just some of the unexplainable symptoms as well. Obviously, toxins play a big part of this disease. Matter of fact, there's at least 7 categories of toxins that we know fire something called the no-ono cycle that Martin Pall really made popular. When we get in there, nerve stress plays a massive part of it. Martin Pall in his brilliant work talks about something called NMDA. It is the most excitatory neurotransmitter in the brain, most of which is right up here in the upper cervical spine. In 2005, there was some studies released showing that people develop chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia after car accidents, and really we didn't understand the etiology, but today we do with Martin Pall's work, because we know that these NMDA receptors get overstimulated and it can lead into an oxidative inflammation cycle. So you can see toxins plays a role, nerve stress absolutely plays a role, and by the way, it's always a big picture of how I get these patients well and how I got myself well, as a matter of fact. Deficiencies plays a role. I think most deficiencies today, people think of, maybe vitamin deficiencies, but yes, people have those, but it's not the big answer to the problem. Most of it is antioxidants and glutathione deficiencies. Glutathione is your body's strongest antioxidant. Every cell needs it to survive, and most people are deficient today. Matter of fact, in this country, the older you get, the lower your glutathione goes, and I believe that's because of the level of toxicity that we're under today. So we obviously want to test in even hormones. Most of the hormones of the patients that I treat with these illnesses are dysregulated. However, we have to look at why, because most doctors today just want to treat the hormones instead of really backing up, or at least going upstream to the cause of why the hormones are dysregulated. And most often, it's toxin-induced or at least nerve stress-induced. That's why these are major pieces of the puzzle. So think of this as more of antioxidant deficiencies, because that's what the literature supports. Most people cannot downregulate the inflammation and oxidative stress. And then also I have a diet that really plays into a picture of the treatment of these illnesses, because there's only one diet. I call it my cellular healing diet, because that diet that really is designed to reduce the inflammation at the cell, also cellular regeneration. It was designed to regenerate the cell, and also it regulates the hormones. It works. When we put this puzzle together, it really is a simplified way of how I get patients well. But I'm going to say this, it really boils down to fixing the cell. The dysregulation occurs at the cell, and it really is an inflammation oxidative stress problem. There's 2 theories that I've combined here. The old theory is hey, we're bioaccumulating toxins. It's called the bucket theory. We're getting these toxins inside of us, we can't get rid of them, maybe because our glutathione drops. Some of us genetically have bigger buckets, some of us genetically have smaller buckets. However, whatever reason, we bioaccumulate the toxins, they affect us at the cellular level. That theory has been around for a long time, but it really never gave us a great etiology for why so many different symptoms, why some and not others. And today, Martin Pall's no-ono cycle, this inflammation oxidative stress cycle, really gives us a better etiology for the illness. Putting the two together is really what I've done here, and that's how I get people well. I hope you get a lot out of that. You can pick up more of that, obviously, if you read the site, and I encourage you to do that. I hope that helps.